Hi folks, welcome back. Today we're going to be building our first drum. Okay, so we've been looking at a lot of filters, and what we're going to do today is we're going to build a special type of filter that we're going to put in the feedback loop of an op amp, and it's going to sound like a drum. Okay, so we've looked at a couple of filters in previous videos, but we've never seen anything quite like this. That's because these are second order filters. So what that essentially means is they're just two filter stages cascaded one into the other. The other complicated thing is that we've got two feedback paths, so I don't want you to worry too much about these circuits. We're not going to go into the nitty gritty of them like I have in previous videos, but you can kind of see here, we kind of got like a high pass in the feedback and a low pass here, and this is a low pass filter, so that makes it into kind of a two-stage low pass filter, and you've got the inverse here, you've got like a high pass filter here, and you've got a low pass filter kind of feeding back here. Let's not worry too much about it, but I will just tell you that this is a low pass filter and this is a high pass filter. So let's talk about filters in a bit of a different way. How we describe a filter is in terms of its pass band and in terms of its stop band. And the pass band is the frequencies that the filter lets through, and the stop band is the frequencies that the filter doesn't let through. So for a low pass filter, let's say, so this is amplitude, this is frequency, and that's the response curve. So these, if this is the 3 dB point here, let's say, and that's how we define the cutoff frequency of our filter, remember, then these frequencies here are in the pass band, and these ones are in the stop band, and it's vice versa for the high pass filter. So again, 3 dB point here, this is the pass band here, and this is the stop band. So what we're going to look at today is what happens when you run one filter into another type of filter. What happens then? Okay, so if we put the input here, run it through this low pass filter, and then run that through this high pass filter, then where's the pass band going to be? Okay, so not the best drawing, but if you imagine that we've taken our input signal, let's not worry about frequencies at the moment, and we passed it through this low pass filter. So this is the pass band here of our low pass filter, this area under this red bit. So all these frequencies here have been filtered out. And then we pass it through the high pass filter, and then all these frequencies are filtered out. So we've only got what's left in this little pass band here. And we call this a band pass filter because we're passing this little band of frequencies there. Band pass filter, or BPF. Low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter. So you might be able to see where this is going. We're going to take this passive network here, and we're going to take this passive network here, and we're going to put it in the feedback of a 4069 op amp circuit, which is going to do the inverse of this. Okay, so this is just the passive network that we were working on a second ago, but I've only taken the passive components and I've put the two things in parallel. So this is our kind of low pass filter section, and this is our kind of high pass filter section, and we're going to set the response of this up in a very specific way. So what we're going to do, and I'm not going to go into values here because I'll go on the breadboard in a second and show you it working, and then you can copy my values if you like. We're going to set the cutoff frequency for both filters at just below and just above the same point, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So for our low pass filter, we're going to set the low pass so that it allows everything below that to pass, and we're going to set the high pass so that it allows everything above that to pass. So you can see how in the frequency spectrum now we've got this notch, and that's what we kind of call this type of filter, is a notch filter, because it allows all of the frequencies through except the one that we don't want. So that's why we've got these two in parallel. So this stream passes through these frequencies, and this stream passes through these frequencies, and then we're kind of mixing them together. And we've got the original signal, but just without this one frequency. So this is often used for like killing mains hum and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the feedback network of one of our 4069 inverters that we were using in a previous video. And so that frequency that gets notched out, instead of getting notched out, is going to get amplified because we're feeding that back. So remember, in an ordinary filter, the frequencies that get filtered out because the active components, like the capacitors in this one, look like a large impedance to that frequency. So all that frequency gets dropped across these, and the rest of the frequencies go across to the output. Watch my Circuits 101 video if you're not sure what I'm talking about. But what that means is that in the feedback network, those frequencies that normally get notched out see a high impedance, so the output of the op amp has to push harder to feed back those frequencies, and at the output of the op amp, that looks like a high gain. So we see more of those frequencies instead of less. So that pass band that we saw a second ago is actually going to get amplified. So we're going to have just a lot of amplification at a very narrow band of frequency. And how that's essentially going to look is that's going to get fed around, and because some power is going to get lost in each circuit element, because none of these are perfect, you know, so as this one frequency goes around and around and around, it's going to decay down. So we're sending a burst of frequency here, and it's going to get only amplified at one very narrow frequency, and the rest is going to get filtered out because of that op-amp action. And so we're just going to see a signal that kind of does this. And if we set the frequency at a nice low frequency, then this will sound like a nice 808 style kick drum. So let's go upstairs and check out this circuit. I'll put a link in the description to a schematic if you want to follow along. Okay, so we're up on the bench this time. This is the circuit. I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to build it back up again for you guys. So first things first, we've got that passive network that we had on the whiteboard downstairs. So we've got a capacitor down to ground here. We're going to have a stereo potentiometer here. We've got the two capacitors here with the potentiometer down to ground there. So it's quite straightforward to build this. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. So we take another one of these 100k stereo potentiometers and we're connecting the middle two wipers together. That's this one and this one. Of the top branch, this is going to be our input and this is going to be our output. And so you see I've already got this connected up to, this is the output of our bottom branch as I drew it on the board. And this is the input. So I'll put this resistor in. I've just got a 50k potentiometer here. And these values that I'm using, I've got two 0.1 microfarad capacitors here, and I've got a 0.22 microfarad capacitor, I think. And this is a 100k stereo potentiometer, and this is a 50k potentiometer. So now that we've got that set up, what we're going to do is we're connecting the outputs together. So remember, this was the output, and this was the output of one branch, and then we're going to connect the inputs together as well. So let's connect these inputs together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the output of the filter network to the input of one of our CD4069 UBE chips. This essentially acts as a inverting op-amp. Go and look at my last video if you want to know more about op-amps. And so we're connecting the output of our inverter to the input of our little filter network thingy here. And so now what? We're going to take one of our obligatory, at this point, 4106 oscillators, and we're going to set that real slow. So I've got a 500k resistor, 500k potentiometer here, and a, I think, 10 microfarad capacitor. So that's going to go really, really, really slowly, well below the threshold of, you know, what you could perceive as a pitch. So if I play it to you, we just hear that as a load of clicks. And we can see on the scope that it's a very slow train square wave. And so we want a little impulse of frequency inputted into our filter network, and then that will oscillate around. We don't want the big long square wave. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass this through a capacitor. And now I'm not going to go into why this happens in this video, but for now all we have to know is that if you put a square wave through a capacitor, essentially the capacitor only responds to the changes in the square wave. So when the square wave changes, you'll get a little pulse in the capacitor, and when it changes back to zero, you'll get a negative pulse. Okay, so we don't need to worry too much about why that's happening, but what that's going to do is that's going to give us a nice little pulse that's going to run around our filter. So now we've got some input, and now we know from what we've done before and what I spoke about on the board that that is now going to be, now that we've connected that capacitor into our filter network, as I've just done here, I've just moved this across, so it's now connected into the whole filter network. And so now if we look at the output of our op-amp, we should see that decaying oscillation like I spoke about. Okay, so depending on what your thing is set up as, you might have to do some fiddling to get something that actually sounds like a drum. You might want headphones for this. If we change this potentiometer, this acts as a kind of decay parameter. And if we change this potentiometer, this acts as kind of the pitch. We get that kind of tom sound, and then we can go all the way down to a kind of big 808 resonant kick sound. Sounds great. Okay, the only problem is that we've got that click coming through quite loudly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pass this onto the second input, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to build up a low pass filter just like we did last time. So that's going to be 100k from this stage to the next stage. 100k feedback resistor, and a 0.33 microfarad capacitor in the feedback as well. And if you want to know more about how that makes a low pass filter, then go back and watch my op amps and active filter video. But all we need to know is that it filters out that click and gives us a nice warm drum sound. Still leaves a little bit of that click in there, which I quite like, a clicky kick drum. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. It's quite straightforward to build, really. Looks a lot more complicated than it is, I think. So come back next time where we're going to make ourselves a cool drum trigger out of like cardboard and stuff. So see you then. Hi guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Ring the bell. Find me on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Watch more of my videos, here's some over here. And I'll see you all next time. Take care.